Okay. The certificate of live birth and the DD-214 are your main stock certificates in the government. Okay? And they are stock certificates. They're holding your assets, and they're an accumulation of your assets. Now, you've had the options all along to do puts and calls against them. When you came of age, you could have called your asset away. These are under a unilateral contract, a one-sided contract only between you and you, your male factor and your female factor side. You are the investor, and basically the other one is the obligator, O-B-L-I-G-O-R, the promiser, the fictional, the female side, the one that made the promise in the marriage. Okay? So it's a marriage between, in this scenario, but it's a commercial marriage in this transaction. Now, you might want to divorce this one and go and get one in the real world to put into this place. Not necessarily a real woman, but basically another one to put in, okay? Because this commercial whore basically is bleeding you dry. And I'm sorry if people get offended with their puritanical thought processes that they've been dumbed down through the ages on this, but this goes all the way back to Adam and Eve, the male and the female factor of the first contract. Okay? Now, what we have is the United States and the state after 1871, they became secret stock corporations. You can look up the definition of that in the dictionary.
Oh!
It's right there. And that, so they are a governmental brokerage house. They can broker the transactions, the instruments. They're not under the control of the SEC. They're under their state governmental and the United States governmental control. That's why they're a secret with the E on the end of it, stock corporation. Now, as a brokerage firm, and you can go and get some of this information from Payne Weber, A.G. Edwards, several of these other stock and commodity brokers out there, and get their pamphlets on puts and calls and about setting up what transpires with a account that you have with them in the process. You deposit funds into a regular brokerage account, and that brokerage can basically utilize those as collateral for their day trading if they have the authorization. Well, the state government does have that authorization, and when these accounts, and that's why what Chris has found out is that these are basically being held in a charitable trust account.
Terrible.
But it's really just a brokerage account. It's called a charitable trust. Therefore, they do not have to pay any income tax on that. as a 501c3, but it's a brokerage account. And see, they're hiding these things away under these false coverings, these curtains, to keep you off guard from seeing what is really going on, is that it's nothing but a put and a call scenario. You get a document issued from the state, a certificate of live birth, but it's blank. You have to turn around and fill in the value, put the fixed value and the given period onto it, and then put it back to your obligor, or whatever, your fictional person. And he has to buy it back. He's got the money. He has to buy it. I know this for a fact. I traded commodities. I played puts and calls. And when it got put to me, I had to buy that because I was the one that was obligated to buy it back. So you don't need to think that, well, this may or may not happen. No, it has to happen. Okay? And there are 3 enforcement agencies out there to enforce this. But we've been looking at these guys in the wrong retrospect. And on this document, I have them down at the bottom, the FBI, the Federal Brokerage House and or Bar Investigators. That's what the FBI is. They will investigate the brokerage houses or the bar, the individual brokers. If you complain as you are the investor, just like at the SEC. Okay, if you have a dealing with Payne Weber, basically you go to the SEC and you file an investor's complaint against them. Well, for the government, you file your complaint with the FBI, and they're the brokerage house and bar investigators. Then you have the CID, and you claimed illegal divergences of income from the account. When you look at that 3949A, that is exactly what that is saying. An illegal divergence of income. And then you have the Secret Service, which is the enterprise financial and forensic auditors over the governmental brokerage house accounts. This is all about brokerage accounts, bar accounts, broker authorized representatives holding the brokerage house, governmental brokerage houses. I tried to address 3 different places that you would be able to send the puts to. There are 51 offices of bar treasurers. There's a treasurer office in each state, or they're of similar nature in each state, and then the United States treasurer. You can turn around and do it, but you have to do a certified copy of your certificate of live birth or military DD-214. And you put it in to your fictional person. They have to broker it. You're doing a put. You're putting it to them. And then the other, you have 51 offices of bar attorney generals. They control the yearly commercial account transactions, and they also control the brokerage, the yearly brokerage account. Okay, they're not the treasurer, but they hold the account sitting there, and that's why you go to the attorney generals, and they have a customer service department in their attorney general's office. And you take all your yearly receipts, and you put them to your fictional person to make the payment back to you. This also for your yearly taxes, federal, state, sales tax, all of those. You would send them to the Attorney General. Then you have all the U.S. and state bar courts, okay? And they control all of the commercial brokerage charges for like traffic tickets, commercial traffic tickets, taxes due, other commercial charges, fees, penalties, etc. that are out there, credit cards, mortgages. And you would turn around and put that charge to your fictional person to make the payment to them. So like on the put order that I had Tom post up there, one that I had going to my state, I think I had the certificate of live birth, one going to my state treasurer, and then a DD-214 example going to the United States. No, maybe I had it going to the same place. Okay. Yeah, I think I did. I sent it to the state, the examples that I posted. But I had the payment being delivered to me. And see, that certificate of live birth or that DD-214, they are script, okay? They are a certified script, and you turn around and you put the value on there, and you put the time, and then you put it to your fictional person, and he has to buy it back. So he has to release the funds for that. Now, it can either go to you, or you can have it sent to a third party, to the court, to the treasury, if it's taxes or something like that they have you on, or to the utility company, or to the car dealership. You have them make the treasury check out to them. Now, the accounts that are held by the Attorney General, and they're there for a year. Now, in some cases, some of them are, the obligation is over a year, so those will be a carryover account. But at the end of that period, they get deposited into, any carryover gets deposited into our certificate of live birth or our DD-214 account, whichever one is being utilized in the process. Most cases, it's just going to be strictly the certificate of live birth. The DD-214 is set pretty much aside, and that's only being utilized by the Defense Department and the VA and a few other places that people have gotten into brokerage accounts with. But at the end of the year, all those dividends go into your master stock account. So now you have a state or federal tax that's from 2005 bill that they send to you. You turn around and process that in with the certificate of live birth, and put on the back of it and make it payable to the treasurer. But you do a put order, and you have that amount of funds then put over to the treasury. Now, when you get a full understanding, and basically until you get an understanding of these puts and calls, I strongly recommend you do not do anything more. You do not play with the calls until you get a handle on the puts.
Randy.
Okay.
From North Carolina.
You're going to have to listen to the first part. You've already missed about 20 minutes of this.
I know I'm late. I'm sorry.
Okay. So you stay away from the call unless you really understand what's going on. Okay? Because you have to know what you're dealing with out here, or else basically you're sooner or later you're going to get hoodwinked right back into the system, and you'll probably be in a worse shape scenario than you are right now. I hope that this message gets out to all the other gurus out there. Rob Ryder, Rod Class, Roger Elvick, you name it, Gene Keating, Angela Stark on her call, all of these other people that are out here that are trying to find out the truth. This is it. It's all about puts and calls, and you will find this documented in the Bible even. Especially when you get to the calling away to where you are exercising your right to redeem your stock. That is your redemption. That basically the man Jesus was doing. When we get out and we do our called away, we will send that to the treasurer and have them process that. We will also notify the Secretary of the State, because they're going to have to purge the accounts of all public commercial identifications and registrations, and then issue the Freeman tangible ID and passport when we set up our non-interest-bearing, non-commercial account, because we want to put our assets, the vast majority of our assets, back into the Treasury, or at least open up an account there to where we can receive our yearly American dividends and royalties that are guaranteed to us for our life, because we are an individual managing stock owner and director on the board of directors of these corporations. We're the electors. So we're on the board of directors. When you turn 25, you become an elector. At 21, you're just a voter. At 18, you're a commercial voter. You got to know which scenario you're working in. One of the guys was asking about doing some of this stuff. Basically, as soon as you come of age, you can start doing some of this. If you're not over the age of 21 yet, you should probably have your guardian back you up on this. Because they're the ones that basically put you into this scenario to start off with. understand the system, then you can turn around and put these things in. And you can start putting puts and calls, or the puts in, and the call is just a one-time deal. Now, in several of your court cases, okay, especially like on traffic tickets, you have, and see, everything out here is done by will, okay? You are the testimony arbitrator appointed by your fictional commercial person. You're the only one that knows his will, and you're the only one that knows your will. So you are the arbitrator, a person appointed by a testator in his will, and you don't have to have this written down or anything, to interpret, settle difficulties between beneficiaries growing out of the dispositions made by the will. And see, everything they have out here is by will. Any item you signed, it was a will. You signed it by your will. So, yes, we're the testimony arbitrator. Now, when the testimony arbitrator comes in to the court, you make the interpretation of whether you are operating in the commercial scenario or not. An arbitrator, private, extraordinary judges of domestic tribunal. That means your three persons are a domestic tribunal chosen by parties whose agreement they are invested with quasi-judicial power to decide finally and without appeal matters in dispute between the parties. You're the arbitrator. That judge is not really a judge. They're an administrator. They're a broker administrator. They're there to broker a account, a charge. And you're the arbitrator, and you can come in and determine whether that was a valid charge or not. And your decision is final. But you've got to have big you-know-what to do this, okay? To be able to stand there. You can't be wishy-washy about this stuff. You've got to know what you're doing, okay? And stay away from all the codes. You play with the codes, and you're going to get burned by the fire. You are a sire, okay? Because you are a board member. And the first four letters of board are B-O-A-R, a male hog, a sire. And then when you look up the definition of sire, a title of honor given to kings or emperors in speaking or writing to them. Then you go and look up the word emperor, okay, an officer. The word is synonymous with the Latin interpreter and impetor. They are both derived from and signifies one who commands. It is now, okay, get this, it is now used to designate some sovereign prince who bears this title. In America, you are a sovereign prince. I said this years ago. You break the word American down. A mayor is a prince of a sovereign, of a sultan, of a king. I, individual, can, one who understands. That's what an American is. The American Empire, the whole of the United States, composed of the states and the territories. And you're an emperor in the American Empire. Board, the convenient term of referring to the board of directors of a corporation, referring being in the individual as well as the collective sense. Meals, M-E-A-L-S. That's to pay. Meal rent, rent paid by a tenant in meal. See, you've got to look at these words in the dictionary and read between the lines and see what some of these things are saying. And you're not going to find any of this stuff in the codes. Because the codes are basically like the curtain in The Wizard of Oz, hiding everything from you, covering it up. That's what a code does. It puts a cover out there to throw you off. So, right now, all of our stuff is basically classified as being held in an intangible status. But the stuff that is in our master stock accounts is really tangible. But it can only be accessed by puts right now. And then if you call it away, then you take it completely out, and now it becomes fully tangible, just and real. And then you can redeposit it into a new treasury account, a non-commercial, non-interest-bearing checking account at the Treasury that will receive your dividends and your royalties from the governmental stocks that you own. I don't see how this can be any simpler, okay? You try anything else and you're not going to get anywhere, okay? But a put, they are obligated. Your fiction has to buy it back. Not the United States, not the state. It is your fiction has to buy it. He's the one that's holding the account. See, we were sending a lot of these things in, and if you write a bond, your ass is theirs. Okay? Because you just bonded yourself to them. And you do not have the authorization to write any damn bonds. I've told people that for years. To write a bond, you have to be licensed by the SEC, and not one of you guys is licensed by the SEC out here. I'm the closest one to being licensed by the SEC that I know of out here in this area, because I took the commodity broker's test, okay, and passed the thing, and I could have been a licensed commodity broker, Series 7. But I didn't. And I should have known a lot of this stuff, but it was too damn well hidden. I was close to it, but I didn't see that basically these are governmental brokerage houses. That was one of the key things right there. And then to see the puts and the calls, well, I'd done those before. And like I said, I had to, when somebody put it to me, I had to buy it. And so our fictional person, when we put it to him, he has to buy it. He has to put out the cash to buy that stock or that instrument back from us that we put to it. The receipt. He has to give us the payment for that. Okay? I hope that the people understand the importance of this. Look at that document, okay? If you have any questions, don't hesitate to give me a call. I'll be here for a little while. I don't know how long, but tomorrow morning, basically the state is getting one of my puts for $250,000 on my DD-214, and then probably Tuesday morning, the Treasurer of the United States is getting one of my puts for $5 million against my DD-214. Now, they have to process them. We put the put order in to have that addressed to our fictional person who is holding our assets. They can't hold that up. If they do, we will get the FBI on their ass. Because we now know what the FBI really is supposed to be doing. Because this is all about brokerage out here. About the monetary system in this country. So you can take those Excel files, some of them that I had up there before for the receipts, and you turn those into a put. And you put it to your fictional person to pay you for those receipts. He's the one that's holding the assets. And if you don't do these, then they're going to, in a lot of cases, these bar attorneys and these chief financial officers of some of these corporations are going to put an abandoned property claim against these scripts that you do not utilize out here. And that's where then the CID would come into play, because in some cases this was all done under a fraudulent scenario. But you have to know what you're talking about when you make these allegations. Okay. Go ahead and open it up to questions, Tom. You there, Tom?
I had my mic off. Sorry, Patrick. Yeah. Any questions, guys? Patrick, you pretty much answered the questions I had. I figured we need to take those Excel files and convert them to a put, so I'll work on that. I've already got my certificate of live birth put made out, so I'll be sending that tomorrow.
Yeah, your mortgages, all of those things are basically an instrument, a script, okay, without the T on it, script, okay,
right.
And basically you can turn around and you turn that into a put, and you put it back to your fictional person to make the payment either to you or to a third party.
Right. either set off or a reclaimed value.
Right.
And does the certificate of live birth, does it have to be an original, or can it be a copy of a
It has
certified?
to be a certified copy
Okay.
of that the state or the county issues.
Okay.
Just like the DD-214. You have to take that in and have that placed into the county records, and then they will give you certified copies of that as script. Okay? Script. Okay? SR, SCRIP, whatever the hell.
Right.
Okay?
You know, I
And
did
see,
that.
that's money.
I did that, and I said, don't I get something, some kind of official document back? And she said, no, we don't do that.
You don't do what? What did you ask for?
I wanted it validated, stamped, you know, I wanted it officiated.
You basically placed the DD-214 on file, record it into the military records. Then you turn around and ask for 3, 4, 5 certified copies of it. That's what you asked for. I want 3 certified copies of it now. You have it on the record, and basically they're not going to charge you anything.
So we don't have to go to Vital Records and get additional certified copies from them. We
You
can
don't
do it at
what?
the county where we don't have to go to the Vital Records of where we were born to get certified copies of that. We can do that in the county that we're residing in.
No, you have to go to your birthing county or to your state Vital Records to get your certificate of live birth. But
Well,
your DD-214, you can put it into any county in the country. I've got it in 2 counties right now. I've got it in Mahaska County, and I've got it on file in Keokuk County. I can go to either place and get certified copies of it. If I wanted to, I could take my original and take it down to Texas and put it into one of the counties down there and get certified copies of it.
Wow. I asked her for a certified copy because I put it in Erie County, and she said, no, we can't do that. That's ridiculous.
But that was your birth certificate, wasn't it?
Yeah, a certified
That's
copy.
your birth certificate. That's not the certificate. That's not the DD-214.
Oh, okay. All right.
You can only get your certificate of live birth script from your birthing county or the Bureau of Vital Statistics of the state that you were born in.
Right, I did that.
Okay. You guys don't listen, and then you mix things up, and you don't turn around and ask the question back, well, what did I do wrong? Okay?
Well,
I have a
thought
question.
you could get it, like, mine is in Vermont, so I thought you could put it in the county here, say in New York.
No. That is a fixture in that state because, see, that is a state stock.
Okay.
That's a Vermont state stock. So you're getting shares of dividends from your assets in Vermont and all the United States.
Okay.
Okay? That's why, and then see, it's got a universal United States number on it, even though it might start off with 1, 2, 3 for the first 3 digits. That's identifying it came from Vermont.
144.
Or whatever, okay?
Yeah.
And basically, then you can take that certificate and put it in then as a put into any state treasurer.
Okay.
Oh,
But
okay,
you can
yeah.
only put it in as a put. as an instrument against your fictional person. You do not get it recorded. You put it in as an instrument, a monetary instrument.
Okay.
To cash it out.
Yeah, that was my question. You answered it.
Okay.
Where you had to, if you had to put it in the same state that you got it out of. But okay, I got it now.
Yeah, you can put it into any state. There's 51 treasurers. You can put it into the court. Okay? They're all brokers. They're all tied into the bar association, the brokerage, governmental brokerage system.
Hello?
I mean, it's like you set up an account with Payne Weber in New York, and you go out to California, and you walk into the Payne Weber office out in California. You can put an order in that office, too. That's all that this is, this governmental brokerage system. They're all across the country. So you can make a transaction wherever you are. As long as you've got the right instrument to make the transaction with. Yeah, everything that we've been trying to do for the years is right here in all this puts and calls. The surrender that trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
When you put it to your fictional person, you are surrendering that instrument to him. That's who we need to surrender the instrument to, not to the state. The state has no money. Our fictional person is the one that has the assets. The redeeming item of it. Basically, redemption is done by calls. When you call a callable item in, you're converting the security. You're redeeming it. Call a feature of a security that allows the issuer to redeem the security prior to maturity by calling it in and forcing the holder to sell it back. The holder has to sell it back. So he has to pay us for it. We give him the security, he has to pay us the money, or the bank, the money for that security, for that mortgage. Any other questions?
This is Steve. Do you think that these government brokers are just working right in line with the other brokers, or do you think they actually have like their own separate clearinghouses and stuff?
They are their own brokerage house.
Right.
They're not under the control of the SEC.
Right.
Okay, that's why they have the 3 law enforcement or brokerage enforcement agencies that are different than the agencies that control Payne Weber and those guys.
Right.
The SEC has investigators that monitor them.
Yeah, and since it is a secret account, they aren't going to leave a trail or a track. They're going to...
Right, it's hidden, okay? It's behind the curtain, and we've exposed this, that these are government brokerage houses.
Yeah.
And that's what that bar item is. But these guys now, when you put your order in and you put it to your fiction, okay, it's not going to them. They have to broker it.
Right.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. They have to broker it, and our fictional person has to buy it.
Patrick, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm reading, finally reading the put order, and since I was naturalized on New York, Riverhead, Long Island, I have the county and the office there. That's what I would have to use, right?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, that's the account number and everything, and basically you could turn around, and after you've been here and you're naturalized 7 years, yeah, you can close that thing down. You can call it away and put it over into a commercial account.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, people should go down, and if these things aren't making too much sense to you, go down and pull up the pamphlets. You can even get these online from Payne Weber and H.E. Edwards and some of the other major brokers firms out there. Get the pamphlets that they cover about what is a put and a call options. And read those. Also read about the accounts, okay? Different trading accounts that they have. I'm not telling you to go and sign up with them, okay? Just try and get additional understanding. But that's where you need to go. You don't go to the codes, because those codes are strictly for the commercial endeavor side out there, and to keep you into that scenario. And see, it's going against our fictional person. And when we put it into these brokers, they have to process it. You go to Payne Weber and you put a call in, or a put in. They have to process it if you've got the funds. If you've got the account already set up there, and we've got the account with these government agencies. Now, they have to process our demands. We're the owners of this damn country. Let's get this straight for a change. They work for us.
Patrick, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is the birth certificate the script that we need to use for a court case to send to the court?
What's your court case about?
It's about a traffic ticket.
The traffic ticket is your script.
Okay.
Yeah. What account number is on there? The driver's license.
Right.
Who's it addressed from? That basically is coming from your fictional person. The cop wrote your name up there at the top. Not your name, but your fictional person. So he issued that script to you. What you have to do is turn around and send it back and to the court and say, put this to the obligator, or whatever the hell that term is, and have him pay the bill. And I want the appearance bond at the same time. So, part of the ticket goes to them, part of the ticket goes to you.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, but you say, I am putting this to the seller, and see, that's really, I would use the other term, the OBLIGOR term, because they will know that, and basically that is your fictional person, you're not. And see, I tried to do it with the court, saying it should be the one to pay this. No, it's my fictional person that is on the driver's license. He's the one that has that brokerage account sitting at the Attorney General's office.
Right.
Now, see, they wrote bonds against that driver's license to pay the traffic tickets if you came across. If you didn't, then after 5 years or whatever, then the funds go and get deposited into your master account.
Nope.
So you got driver's license is what, a 5-year contract?
6 year in Oregon.
6 years, okay? 6-year contract. So basically, the Attorney General's office has that in their account for 6 years. And then at the end of 6 years, basically they have to zero their books. See, these are corporations. And in most cases, most of your yearly stuff, like your property taxes and everything else, they have to be processed over because they've written bonds to pay those property taxes, but you didn't turn around and put that back to your fictional person by way of the broker to pay the property tax. You paid it out of your back pocket. So now that property tax at the end of the year is going to be placed over into your master account. So you want some of that back, you turn around and you do a put by way of the treasurer to draw that out of your master account.
But what do they do with the bond on the driver's license if you surrendered it already?
It's probably still sitting there, okay, because we have not called it away from them. Okay? Surrendered it back to them. We did not do a put or a call on it. That's like all these other instruments, these money orders and everything that I tried to do before. They're no damn good. Even the Secret Service has said that. We were close, but we were not right. So what we were doing did not cause any harm to the country because they couldn't be processed. So they went to the shit pile, to the garbage dump. But your driver's license is still there because you have not done a called away to redeem that. And since you surrendered it, if you've got a copy of that, I would send a copy of that in and say that you're calling that instrument away from their further usage in the brokerage system. You're calling it away from your fictional person and also from the brokerage house. That's what a called away is about.
I don't know if you've covered this, but I know you did say something about taxes. These are unpaid taxes, and they want a response within like 5 days. Would I just put in for money to cover them?
You can turn around and take that instrument itself and convert it into a put, and you put it to your fictional person by way of the treasurer and have the payment made to whoever, the state revenue or the county person or to the United States Treasury.
Yeah, to the Department of the Treasury.
No, it'd be the United States Treasury, not the Department of Treasury.
Okay.
It was issued by the Department of Treasury. That's the commercial brokerage house.
Okay. From the IRS.
Yeah.
Okay.
But see, there again, basically, you can basically take that in some cases and say, prove that I owe those taxes because I was not operating in commercial commerce. So you show me what transactions I was doing that have those charges. And see, some of these things are like frivolous charges. We made a mistake. Okay?
Yeah, I got one of those.
Understand what we were doing with those DD or those 1099s and stuff like that. We thought that's what we were supposed to be using, but we made a mistake. Okay? So it's just like at your local checking account. You overdraft, but you put the money in the night before, but it didn't get registered into the account. Now, in a lot of cases, they will wipe that off. They want your continued service. They don't want you to call away and leave them. And see, that's the alternative. If they don't renege on that frivolous $5,000 frivolous filing fee, you're going to pull the plug. And they won't have any more usage of you anyway.
This is like $25,000 for unpaid taxes and fines.
Yeah, I know. I got one the other day, too. Okay?
You're not worried?
I'm not worried about these things one bit anymore, okay?
Okay.
What are they going to do? You prove, I'm putting this back to you, you prove that basically this, because I claim I was not operating in commercial commerce to that amount of money, or basically most of that that you have listed there is all frivolous filing charges.
Hey, Patrick?
Yeah.
I'm sending them a letter stating I need them to have a notarized copy of the bill of particulars in this case.
I wouldn't do that, okay?
No.
For right now, I would just turn around and do a put and pay the thing. Get it out of your hair, okay?
That's for anything?
Put a put in for the full amount and have, like what I had there, you just turn around and put that on the back, that certificate of live birth statement, okay, that put order. You take that and you put that on the back of that bill. And on the front you would say, see reverse side for put order.
So that's for any bill. You just put the put order on the back of it.
But then where does it go?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
he said give it to the Attorney General.
Right.
And the State Treasurer.
The State Treasurer gets the puts on the Certificate of Live Birth and the military, DD-214. The Attorney General gets all these set-offs and reclaimed values.
Okay, I'm back on. My phone died. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Now, what I was saying about the taxes, just go ahead and take that statement that they sent to you, okay? That is basically was put to you, okay, as an instrument. You have to put the value on it, and you put the time that it needs to be set off. So you turn it into a regular put, and then you put it back in there against your fictional person to make the payment. And you send it back into them, either to the treasurer or to the IRS as a brokerage. And you address them as a brokerage processing agency.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And make it for the full amount, but you, instead of having the payment coming to you, delivered to you on that statement that I have, that I had Tom post up there, using the certificate of live birth, you would put the payment is to be directed to as a treasury check or whatever to the United States Treasury. Get it out of your hair. But don't try and fight them right now. Okay?
No, you just want them to go away.
Yes. Well, you get them out of your sight, and then basically you start building your wall, your defensive wall up. And this is what was hidden totally away from us. okay, was these puts and calls, and that the government is a brokerage house. And all those, the Attorney General, the Secretary of State, the Treasurer, they're all bar members. And see, in the state, they have to be licensed by the state, that bar member. So a state of Iowa bar member cannot go and be a bar member in Texas. They have to apply in Texas to be a Texas bar member, to do Texas brokerage accounts. But that's all they're doing, is they're doing the broker house, the state of Iowa brokerage house accounts, or the state of Texas brokerage accounts, or the state of California. But yet all the state treasurers, all the Secretary of State, or all the treasurers, all the Secretaries of State, and all the Attorney Generals are all tied back to the Attorney General at the United States, the Secretary of State at the United States, and the Treasurer at the United States. So they're all tied together. They have to be licensed by the United States level in those capacities. No, when you think about this stuff, I mean, some of this stuff ought to just start coming to your mind very easily. How can it work? And when you start seeing this, and then you compare it to like Payne Weber or something like that, you see, oh, yeah, that's how it really works. But it's been hidden away from us. And they use these colors of law and codes of law to hide it.
What gave you that insight that it was a brokerage operation?
Huh?
What gave you that insight that it was all a brokerage operation? How did it come out? How did the lightning strike?
Well, basically I got into the definitions, and I forget what the hell I was starting into the other night, that 5 or 6 page, I was into arbitrator, and then somehow or other I got into warrant, and I forget which word I got from, warrant. I was going through warrants in the testimony court actions and stuff. And the very last thing on warrant, it said see script, S-C-R-I-P.
Oh, yeah.
So then I got into script and basically started going through it and going into the other words that led me from one to another, and that's when it got into the puts and the calls and everything else.
Okay, I see this.
Yeah, see, that's what people need to do is follow the dictionary, follow the words, and then look, never think you know what a word means, okay? Unless it's a or the or something like that, yeah, you might know what those mean, but basically anything else, you better be checking out what the law dictionary or even the non-commercial dictionaries have it down as. And never trust just one dictionary. Script, where instruments are executed in part or counterpart, the original or principal is so called, in English probate practice, a will, okay, can be a script, okay, and basically, like I said, all driver's license, everything like that, are wills. Now, that was out of Black's Law. Out of Valentine's Law Dictionary, a document representing fictional shares of a stock dividend. Well, you're the stockholder. You're the owner of America, so you have a stock in America, and you have to be paid your dividends. And I've approached the Attorney General's office on this. I said, I'll be glad to pay any taxes that are due once I get paid. But until I get paid, I ain't paying shit. Now, that definition in Ballantyne goes on. The next sentence really tells a lot. An order on the state treasurer to pay the sum named whenever available funds are in the treasury. So it's an order on the state treasurer. A script is. And what you have is a script, that certificate of live birth, that driver's license, that ticket. All of these are scripts. But the funds, when available, funds are in the treasury. It's your account that's in the treasury. Your fictional person, that's who the account within the treasury it has to be directed to. Not to the treasury in general, but to your account within the treasury. And then, yes, after that, I got on a holy tear that morning of going through the damn dictionary. I mean, I had probably about 20 of the damn alphabet open for Valentine's, going through all the different words. That's what you have to do. I've said this for years. Until you know the words, you will never understand what is really going on. And then you have to know how to put the words together.
Right.
Yeah, you might just call me Toto. Because I just pulled the curtain back, okay? I exposed the wizard. Okay, question, go ahead.
I'm looking at the frivolous filing bill that I got, and both sides have writing on it. So I would attach a copy of that put and send it, but do I send it to the address that they sent it, they're telling me to send it back to?
Yeah, send it right back to them.
To them with the put on
I would
page.
turn around and put a copy of that and send that into the chief counsel for the IRS.
Yeah, it's a send payment.
Because we know that the chief counsel would have a bar card.
Okay, chief counsel for the IRS.
Yeah, send a copy of that to them too, saying, I put this put in. Now this put had better settle this damn thing, and I gave you 24 hours. Why did I put 24 hours on my items? Because they operate on an 8-hour day. So you divide 24 hours by 8 hours, you've got 3 days. 3 working days.
Okay.
You say 3 days, and basically they will classify that as 72 hours, and basically then divide that by 8, and you've got 9 days plus 2 days because of the weekend. So now you've got 11 days before they could have to process anything.
Wow.
Yeah, see, these guys are sneaky. Now that you know where you have to put it in. See, even the Secret Service has told us we were close, but we were addressing it to the wrong person. We needed to address it to our fictional person to be the one, and we had to put it to them. And then when you want out of the system, you just do a calling away, but you have to have a certified copy of the instrument, and you submit that into the treasurer, or into the treasurer to call that in.
My sister passed away this past December, And my mom got an EIN number for her because that was our understanding at the time, what we should do. What should we do now?
You should get your shit straight first, and then you can go after your sisters. And as soon as you get your shit straight, then you ought to be able to see what the hell you need to do for your sister account. It's going to be the same thing. You're going to call in because you're going to come in either as the executor or one of the heirs in the process to claim her estate. So you would be calling in her share of stock.
Okay.
And at that point in time, that commercial EIN is going to go by the wayside.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, see, that 9-digit number, any 9-digit number out there is a commercial number, allowing them access because it's a number that was issued by will. The Social Security number, 9 digits. The driver's license, 9 digits. The certificate of title to your vehicle, 9 digits. The certificate of title to your house, more than likely 9 digits on the thing. Okay? Your EINs, your corporate, your SC, I don't know what the hell those damn other things are, EINs that people get out there. Basically, they're still processing back through to your Social Security account, which is your master transmitting number to access your certificate of live birth.
Okay.
Now, for the DD-214, your master account number is your selective service number. Secret service number. Okay? Just like your certificate of live birth number. It's a secret service number. Secret stock number, really, is what that one is. But the selective service number is a secret service number, SS. The Social Security number is a secret service transmitting number because it allows the transmitting of the instruments against our real assets, whether it be the DD-214 or the certificate of live birth master accounts, to place liens or whatever against them. So when we call this away from the commercial world, taking it also away from the commercial corporate brokerage house, they can no longer broker it. And then that has to be liquidated, and we will get all the tangible assets that are just due to us. And then we can turn around and place them back into a non-interest-bearing, non-commercial account with the Treasury and get a different accessing system to that, just like a regular full-blown checking account. And not have to do these puts and calls. And see what that, when they bring those tangible assets, they will be in the form of gold-backed bearer bonds for the value, for the tangible value of your account at that point in time. On a DD-214, you would just call that one away, your appropriate share of that, away from the commercial world, away from the usage by the Defense Department. Shut them down. Stop letting them fight wars all around the world. Take the money away from the Defense Department. Okay? And that's what you would do in that regard, and then you would still be getting your military bounty royalties as long as you're alive. Just like as long as you're alive, you would be getting your dividends against your American share of stock. And state of Iowa or state of whatever share of stock. You're the owners of those cop cars. You're the owners of all these buildings out here, governmental buildings. They don't own shit. And I even told the Secret Service that. Said, who owns that car out there you're driving? Unless it's a private vehicle, basically I am one of the owners of that vehicle. And I'm thinking about going out there and claiming one of the tires as mine. Got a chuckle out of them.
Patrick, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
It's a little bit off subject, but it's in line with what we've been talking about here. I registered for selective service, but never went into the service. Do I have a DD-214?
No.
Okay.
No. They set up a selective service account, and see, that would be brought in when you shut down your state account, okay? If you basically registered with the selective service in the same state that you were born in. Otherwise, you would basically address that as an additional, sort of like a driver's license that may have some funds in it. But see, that selective service account, really, they put funds into it when you registered. Because, see, when somebody gets drafted or goes into the service, does the Defense Department pay for their uniform, pay for their boot camp training? Hell no. You're paying for it out of your own damn account. You pay for all your schooling out of your own damn account. The Defense Department has no money. The government has no money. They're bankrupt. They have to utilize our assets, so they're writing bonds against our certificate of live birth account in a lot of the initial funding under the selective service number. Now, after you get a DD-214, then you start receiving military land royalty account dividends. And see, that's one of the oldest laws on the books, is the military bounty, the extra share that the ones that serve in the military and gave to the land, they get something back in return, an extra 10%.
Okay.
So,
That's
Patrick,
documented in the Bible. It's also documented by Hammurabi. It's documented by Caesar. It's documented every place out there, even by Abraham Lincoln in the statutes back in his time. Okay, to where a guy was supposed to get a mule and 160 acres or 640 acres or whatever the hell it was, a plow and a mule and whatever.
40 acres
but
and a
see,
mule.
they took the land away from the people, and see, they took the land away from the military, but all the public land out here has to be registered to a living person. So all that public land is not registered to the corporation. It's registered to the military personnel out here. And they are the ones that are getting the royalties from the usage of that public land, because it's in their name.
So, Patrick, if I call away my DD-214, are they going to send me a check?
You can put in a put for so much. That's what I did for $250,000 at the state and $5 million at the federal level. I used a copy of my DD-214, but I made it a put.
Okay.
And then when I call in my DD-214 later on, I will set up it over into a non-interest-bearing checking account at the Treasury, because I will still want it sitting there so that it can receive its dividends, its royalties. And then when I die, my heirs can come in and claim that away, because that now is in a private Treasury account.
I hope they give me a debit card.
Why do you want to try and keep everything in the commercial world, okay? Why not just get some funds out and put it in a damn cookie jar and bury it in the backyard? Okay? Make your own damn system. Stop relying on other people to do things for you. You get so much cash out, and then you protect it. You hide it away. Hell, you can hide a cookie jar in every 51 states. But you don't need to operate in the commercial world. Stay the hell away from that. You get into a bank or anything like that, after you get out of this system, you're a complete idiot. Okay, any other questions?
Patrick, do you know what the dollar value on a DD-214 would be if I've been out of the service for 40 years?
No. That's why you do a call, because on a call, you do not put a value down. But you only put down how much ever you want, okay? They will tell you whether you've got that much in the account. And basically you should have, at the rate they've been doing all this stuff with the public lands and everything out here, we should have at least quite a few $1 million in that DD-214 of 40 years. Yes, mine is 40 years also. So I just put in for $250,000 at state and then $5 million at the federal level using a DD-214.
How about the birth certificate?
The birth certificate, same thing there. You just do a put for so much, okay? You're not going to, I mean, if your birth certificate was worth $3 billion, you're not going to put it in for $3 billion.
Why not?
Because you're not ready to handle $3 billion. You don't have a safe or anything like that set up. And see, they would turn around and give that to you in bearer bonds, and that means a bearer bond, anybody that bears that bond can cash it. It's not in your name. It's a bearer bond. So you don't want something like that, but basically, yeah, you can put it in for $250,000, turn around and start building a defense system up, and then move the assets over into the Treasury that is real secured in their system. In the non-commercial side, it's not like a bank. When the banks close, they're closed. But the Treasury will always be there.
When you talked to the Secret Service folks and they said we were close, did they say that why it was we were close and exactly?
No, they didn't. No, they're not going to say anything like that.
They're chickens.
And basically, they didn't really say that to the individual. They said that to the banks, that basically these cannot be charged as fraudulent instruments, that they are close to being right. We just didn't have it addressed to the right person, to our fiction, in what I was doing. The money orders and stuff, we were sending them and having them basically being addressed that the Treasury had to make the payment. Well, yes, the Treasury does have to make the payment, but by way of our fictional person. That was how close we were. And see, as long as you have not caused any harm, they cannot charge you with any infraction.
Well, what constitutes harm?
When you write bonds against, and see, you are not a licensed bond writer, and that's what 90% of the people out there in the Patriot community that are in jail is because they wrote bonds. And then they tried to pass them off and sell them as negotiable instruments in the bond world, when you should have just been doing a put and drawing the funds out of your own damn account.
Are you saying that in the case of a court case, if you get a summons or a warrant or some other kind of security that's created in the court system, that you can put those to the account just as you would anything else?
Yes, you put them to your fictional person. Okay? It's a put. So you put it to your fiction and then have the court, okay? That court is nothing but a brokerage court. They're all bar members, so they're brokers, just like Payne Weber. But you submitted in that your fictional person has to make the payment as a put, so you put it to him.
Would that work for general judgments?
General judgment of what?
I say a credit card suit.
You take the credit card payment and you turn around and you submit that in. Okay? And basically, if it's on a yearly basis, I would turn around and submit it into the Attorney General's office through the Consumer Complaint Division.
Now, I'm talking about a judgment awarded to somebody, say a collection agency on a credit card debt. Can you take the general judgment, which has a dollar figure on it, and put it in order to satisfy
Well,
that?
how in the hell did you get involved into a contract with a debt collector?
Well,
okay? You don't have a contract with the debt collector. You have a contract with the credit card company. Right? Where's the contract you have with that third-party debt collector?
well, assuming it's the...
You know how you got in the contract with that third-party debt collector? Because you communicated with them.
Yeah, I understand that part, Patrick. What I'm asking is, if a court issues a judgment and has a dollar figure on it and is signed by the judge, can you put that as you would any other, quote, obligation, unquote, in order to satisfy
You
it?
turn around, you get a certified copy of your certificate of live birth. You turn around and you do one of these puts that I have up there, and you make the payment to that credit card company. Get it out of your hair, okay?
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, go ahead and call it tonight, Tom.